Welcome, everybody, to this HubSpot user group event. I'm Gabriel Marcoglio, and this is Do You Need AEO if your buyers aren't using AI? So today we're going to talk about um, how AI is affecting client acquisition. And if your audience is not using ChatGPT, or if you think that your audience is not using ChatGPT, then you'll learn today how AI is affecting what they're doing, their decisions, and all that stuff. Thank you, everybody, for connecting. If you are connected right now, like I said, introduce yourself, your name, your location, your position, and your company. I know a lot of you are going to be checking the recordings, so we'll include all the links and everything in the recap, and we'll send the recording later on. So let's get this party started. So again, tell us in the chat who you are if you're connected today. I'm Gabriel Margoglio. I'm the CEO and founder of Next Marketing. We are a 100% HubSpot agency, and we've been in business for 24 years. We do HubSpot websites, HubSpot implementations, and of course, we have a long story with history with SEO and now AEO, Answer Engine Optimization. We'll talk about that today. We have a couple of, and I'm going to share some links here so everybody has our links. We have a couple of offers for you. We have an SEO guide and we have an SEO AEO audit. So this is our SEO and AEO guide and our SEO AEO audit. So you can check. And we have some other events going on. If anybody wants to check our recordings from past events, here's the link. And also, if anybody wants to subscribe to the next events, here are the links to the next event coming up in June 17, July 15, and July 29. This is all throughout the summer. We're going to continue from SEO to AEO webinar series, and that will continue every month after that. But these are the events for the next couple months. So let's dive into the agenda. So first of all, what are we going to talk about today? Today we're going to talk about my clients don't use ChatGPT. What do I do? So we'll start with the question: why are we running this webinar today? And we'll go deeper into that. We'll talk about how AI is redefining client acquisition. We'll talk about how to influence what AI says about you. We'll talk about HubSpot AEO tools, the HubSpot AEO examples that we've been collecting from, and also the AEO checklist, what to do next. If you are connecting, I know some people are connecting right now, introduce yourselves in the chat. We are just getting started, and I already shared some links on the chat with our next events, and I'll share that again later on. So let's get started. So first of all, we get this question all the time. My clients are not finding companies like us through ChatGPT. And so this is the question, or the questions. These are the questions that started this webinar and created this webinar. We have a client that they said, our clients are retired, wealthy homeowners building $3 to $15 million homes. They won't find us through ChatGPT. I get it. That makes sense. Maybe not. Maybe someone is not going to ChatGPT and saying, I want to build a $10 million home. Who do I choose, right? That might not be their process, but they're definitely going to use ChatGPT and AI and other AI models, and we'll go through the different options here to validate you, to compare you with the other builders, to research your reputation, to evaluate your competitors. And they're going to ask questions they don't want to ask your sales team. And this is not just for luxury builders. We get the same questions with retirement communities and other industries that are not moving so fast into AI and agents and all these things. They are some of them are legal or financial. They can't move because they can't use AI internally, and they're like, well, if we don't use it internally, our clients even using AI to find us or to validate us? These are the kind of questions that we get. Our clients are older and retired. They're not going to find us on ChatGPT. Maybe not. But they're absolutely using AI through Google, without even knowing it. And that's the other part of the equation. Not only people are using AI to validate you and compare you and going through the whole buyer's journey, but also AI is being embedded in everything. The same way we've been using Google Maps for, I don't know, 10 years or more, 15 years. Google Maps is completely managed through AI. AI is what allows you to say, go this way, go that way. But nobody knows AI is part of the equation. The same is happening with search and with conversations using different tools. And this is a good example of, like, if you think, oh, a person's going to go to ChatGPT and find the company or the service, that's not necessarily how it happens. It's not linear. First of all, it is multi-touch, it is multi-day, it's a full conversation. But AI could be embedded into the whole process, because even if someone goes to Google, they're going to be engaging with AI overviews, and there's going to be a summary and links and all kinds of things built by AI, powered by Gemini. Um, they're going to be using Gemini in multiple tools. I'll share some examples, and that's AI powered answers. They're going to go to other search engines and including Google, and they're going to go into AI mode without even noticing. We'll talk about that too. There's other models like Perplexity and Claude and Copilot, for example. A lot of people are going to use Copilot because they're inside a business, and that's the only one that they're allowed to use. And then voice search, a lot of voice search on phones is going to be powered by AI, and you won't even notice. So, and now that the next one that's coming is people, instead of using Chrome or different, Safari, different browsers that come with a computer or that come with a software company like Google or Apple, they're going to start using AI browsers. ChatGPT has their own AI, Perplexity has their own AI. So that's going to continue to shift how people find you. And they're going to be using AI without noticing, right? So if it, in the first example I want to give is, Google isn't just a search engine anymore. If you go to Google, and this is actually, they announced this last week. And if you go to Google and you search for something, first of all, they're empowering you to use longer searches, and that has happened over the years. When you search for anything, the first thing that happens is you see a huge AI overview explanation, and that's you're engaging with the AI. This is just like being inside ChatGPT. It has links on the side, which are the citations, the sources. It has links within with dimensions, and we'll talk about those things. But then it has a box that says, how, tell me more, or ask me more, or ask you anything you want, or something like that. And they change it, and ask anything. That's what it says. So then you ask something else related to that, and you are immediately moved into Google AI mode without even knowing it. And this whole experience is empowered by Gemini. So even though someone started in Google and they did see some blue links underneath, most of the time they're going to be engaging with the AI overviews. This is all powered by Gemini. And then they're going to be having a conversation with Google. And now Google is empowering and actually encouraging people to do this more and more, not only on the search side of things, but also on the tools. If you're using Gmail, you have Gemini, and it says, I can help you figure it out what emails you need to answer. And you're doing a slides, and I was doing the slides, and you have Gemini saying, I can make the slides look better. So Gemini is now becoming part of every Google tool, which millions and millions of people use as their email and documents and stuff like that. Now, if you're a Microsoft person, or if you're working on a corporation, the same is happening inside Microsoft. Microsoft is all embedded into, Copilot is embedded into every Microsoft tool. So it doesn't necessarily need to be the AI and Google. It's the same is happening in Microsoft with Copilot, and the same will happen with Apple. Now they did a deal with ChatGPT. It was interesting. I asked some questions to Siri today, and it said, I can help you with ChatGPT. So that's already happening. So you see how people are going to be using AI, even if they don't know they're using AI. And that's going to change the way people are, finding companies, but also, using these tools to validate and compare and all that stuff. So just to give a little bit more, this was the intro of why we're doing this presentation. Now let's talk a little bit about how things have changed because of AI. The first thing is search, as we've been talking about, is not just some blue links anymore on a list. Is Google AI overviews, Google AI mode, ChatGPT, other LLMs like Perplexity, Claude, Copilot, Grok, right? Things like that. But SEO is not dead. SEO is evolving. So how do we stay visible? And again, just to give you some numbers, 60% of Google searches now end up in a zero click. That means people are finding the solution and the answer directly in Google without going to your click. And if you're connecting right now, let us know who you are. All the links and the recording are going to be shared so you didn't miss a thing. We just talked a little bit about how things are changing. Now, 70% of B2B buyers complete their decision journey before contacting sales. And when we're talking about big ticket item for B2C is the same thing. And I gave the example before when we started, the example of the luxury builder, $3 million homes, or the retirement community, luxury retirement community. Those are long sales cycles with salespeople. They look more and more like a B2B transaction than a B2C transaction. And we're seeing the same thing. The good news, even though AI is becoming the new homepage, Google is still 210 times bigger than ChatGPT in search. And as we just talked about, Google is an AI model now. It's not a separate thing. They're sending you to Google AI mode automatically. But also, when we're seeing people coming from LLMs and AI, we're seeing a higher conversion rate and a higher closing rate. They're converting more into clients. And we actually track this inside HubSpot. This is a good example. It's 4,000 visits from Google, 42 organic search Google, right? 42 new leads, one client versus 90 visits from AI referrals, two leads, one client. The same amount of clients with a lot less work, a lot less generation of leads. This is critical because it's changing the way we're seeing how we are acquiring leads and clients. Now, don't think this is going to replace Google. Again, Google is an AI model. Again, this is just another source of visits and leads. Now, people are still seeing, tracking and attribution as a visits, leads, and customers tracked inside HubSpot. And we should continue to do this for sure. But we should also track AI referrals. And we should also track AI brand visibility. And we'll talk about how to do that inside HubSpot today. AI brand visibility is mentions when your brand is mentioned, citations when there's a link to your website or to your content or to your social posts or anything connected to your brand and your entities. And then is sentiment. Is it positive? Is it negative? Are you at the top of the list? Are you at the bottom of the list? That's all important. And then we're going to compare it with your competitors. And we'll also talk a little bit about AI volatility and how to combat it. But all of those things are new things we need to track because it's not just visits, leads, and customers inside your CRM. It's also your brand visibility on AI models and Google. And this is more like reputation management, right? But that's just a piece of the puzzle because we're talking about discovery. We're talking about just people finding you through AI. There's also the rest of the buyer's journey, which is also being affected by AI models. And people are using AI to have full-on conversations. And now people are using Google to have full-on conversations about their solution to their problems, their solutions to their problems, comparing it, what companies can help me, compare them with competitors, give me pricing, reviews, everything. So the whole conversation could be a continuous conversation or multiple conversations in multiple AI models to find the solution and find the person and find the product and then buy it. But all of that is happening in AI. So even someone that's about to sign a contract with you or buy something from you, they might be checking you out right now on AI. So it's not just discovery, it's discovery, validation, comparison, objection handling, decision making at the end of the day. This means the pipeline is now influenced before traffic even happened through AI models. Now, something important that we found is that because that's important, you need to understand that you need to control the narrative as much as possible on your brand, because we're not just saying that when someone is searching for their problem, they're going to find you. We're also saying that when someone is searching for you want to make sure that your information inside the AI models and inside Google is accurate, is new, is the one that you want. That the sentiment needs to be positive, but also there needs to be the correct information. So how do you control the narrative? We'll talk about that. This is a good example. We run an audit. We run audits on all of our clients, and we actually sell audits for new clients. That's something I sent the link, and I'll send it again. We run an audit on a client, and we saw that even though they had a new website, they had blog articles, they have been doing internal marketing, and they've done some social media. When you asked about the company on ChatGPT, the narrative was coming from an 11-year-old video on YouTube. And we're like, hold on, there's more updated information on the website. They have a new name, they have new products. The people that were on the video, it was a webinar from 11 years ago. These people don't work in the company anymore. So the narrative is being controlled by an 11-year-old video instead of the website content. And the question is, why would ChatGPT do that? Is ChatGPT dumb? Are they doing it on purpose? Well, video is a very trustworthy source of information because there's people talking and it's harder to fake. And AI models and Google are getting better and better at understanding what's real and what's fake. And we'll definitely talk about that. So video and a webinar specifically with people talking, we're taking as a trusted source. And a trusted source is exactly what AI is looking for. It was more trusted than their own website. So you need to understand this, understand where things are coming from, and understand how you can actually control the narrative on this. Any questions, guys? Anybody has any questions? And you can ask questions throughout the presentation. Let me know. I'm gonna share some links here while you check if you have any questions. That is the link from the case study of the 210 times Google being 210 times bigger than ChatGPT, and I'll be sharing some other links in a second. So this is important. Now, the other thing is AI doesn't rely on one source. AI is building answers from multiple sources. We'll talk a little bit about how they build the answer, but they will go to your website, they go to your blogs, they go to videos on YouTube, they go to social media, they go to reviews. So you need to have a multi-channel strategy. And we'll talk about which channels you can use and how they work. But this is because you're trying to build trust. You're trying to showcase EEAT, which is a Google concept from SEO from years ago. It's expertise, experience, trust, and authority. And if you don't do this, if you don't build on this, and you build on generic content, and we'll talk about that in a second too, then Google and AI will not showcase you, will not mention, and will not cite your pages. This is literally from a couple weeks ago. Google did a huge update, and they said it directly. They're gonna reward EEAT signals, authors, bios, credentials, videos. They're gonna reward structured data. We'll talk about structured data, fast pages, which is SEO foundational stuff. We'll talk about that too. Commercial intent keywords, meaning entities, and we'll talk about the entities in a second too. And also original research and data and your opinion. Your opinion matters. You as a human, you are a human helping humans. You matter. Your company matter. So that's what they want to know. Google and AI models both want to actually showcase real content from real humans helping other real humans. Don't fake it. All thin SEO content, mostly AI generated content without good sources, is going to be rejected. They're not going to cite it. They're not going to mention it. AI generated scale content. This is typical. I'll talk about the AI content trap today. Stop doing that. It will not work. It works in the moment. This is like what we used to call black hat. Black hat is like trying to trick Google with bad things that Google doesn't want you to do. That black hat SEO like it works, but it works temporarily. A lot of companies just use those tactics that are not correct tactics that Google actually want you to do. They're penalized by Google, but they get you, and that's the reason why they penalize them, because it's a way to trick Google without real stuff. Every time you do that, including now creating AI content at scale, is going to be penalized, and it's not going to rank, and it's not going to be cited. Slow sites, again, talking about SEO core fundamentals and informational keywords. We'll talk about that too. So notice this is exactly what we've been talking about that AI wants. And we are seeing it, that not only AI is looking for real sources, but also multi-channel sources. We are seeing it everywhere, where YouTube videos and Reddit posts and LinkedIn conversations are being used to build the answers. The multi-channel strategy is critical, and you can own the homepage of Google, the first page of Google. You can see it here. This is like our Reddit conversation, a video that we posted, then a full webinar recording on YouTube, and then our website. And then we are seeing that the same sources are being cited on Perplexity, on Claude, on ChatGPT. So again, Google AI overviews are a great way to test these things because it's really, really fast. And it's all built on Gemini. And then that means that if you're showing in Google AI overviews, you're doing it right. It's if you see the multi-source, you're doing it right. And then that's going to start showing up on Perplexity and ChatGPT and Claude and all the other ones. Now, we have a workshop coming up, which I share the link. I'm going to share it again here. That's all about what we've learned. This is in July 29th. What we've learned about the difference between the different models and what you need to change in order to actually show up in different models. So doing the foundational SEO and the foundational AEO and testing on AI overviews is a great beginning to start showing up everywhere. Then there's specific things that you can do, and we'll talk about those in that webinar. Again, if you have any questions, let me know. More examples of LinkedIn showing up. And I talked a little bit about entities before. Entities are the way you connect the actual concepts of your business, your products, your services, everything with the content that you create. We used to talk about keywords all the time. Entities are more complex. They have context attached to them. So Apple is a keyword. Apple, the company, is an entity. Apple, the fruit, is an entity. They're two completely different things, and they have context attached to it. Well, when we're talking about entities for you, is your name, the name of your company, the name of your service, the name of your methodology, the name of the software that you use, the name of the location, whatever it is, right? So in this case, I'm Gabriel Marguglio. I'm the CEO of Next Any Marketing. That's the name of the company. We do marketing services. That's the name, the nouns, right? The name of the services. We do AEO. We do video production. So someone can ask how webinars, are webinars, good for AEO? So these are the entity, the connection of the entities are very, very important because that's how AI connects the dots between you, your product, your ideal clients, et cetera, et cetera. And your best content already exists, right? This is something that people ask me a lot. It's like, where do we start? How do we find the content? Well, you have sales meetings, you have customer service conversations, you talk to clients all the time, you run webinars, you do all of this. And if you're using HubSpot to the fullest, you probably have a bunch of sales meeting notes and sales meetings transcripts if you're recording your meetings. You have tickets that allow you to see customer service conversations. You have a knowledge base with your questions and answers. So there's a lot of things that you can take from your CRM, but also running webinars, doing videos. We'll talk more about that. That is my favorite way to do this, doing exactly what we're doing right now. And I'm gonna say it. If you need to run a webinar of 0 people, run a webinar of 0 people. That's still great content you can use to create a blog. You can use to create social media posts. The content will continue to expand. The more you do this, the more people will show up, the more people will connect. And the more you do connect with actual real people, the more real questions you'll get. And the more this will expand as a cycle that you continue to run, which is loop marketing, which is the concept from HubSpot. They launched it last year at Inbound Now, the Unbound conference. Loop marketing is all about running these loops as fast as possible with using AI, but engaging and showcasing your humanity, who you are, and exploring it and making it bigger with AI. Well, if you run webinars or if you run videos or if you have recordings of meetings or even if you have recordings with your phone, you can continue to run these, and you run a webinar, then you create blogs, then you create social posts, you can create clips, and you can create multiple things, which is what AEO and search engine optimization is all about. Visibility through content and showcasing what you do, how you help people. Trust by having a multi-channel um, consensus network of content that allows you to be trusted. And then consistency across the internet, because when you continuously refresh your content and post your content out there, you will be able to control that narrative a lot better, and you will remove the possibility that an 11-year-old video will control the narrative on your business. Again, any questions about these things? I'm going to share some links here. I'm going to share a link about um, from SEO to AEO. This is our how AI is redefining client acquisition. I'm going to share the schema, because we're going to talk about schema in a second, and I'll share some other ones in a second too. So the question is, how do we influence what AI says about us, right? So first, in order to understand how we can influence it, we need to understand how it works. So I try to make it as easy as possible, and this is an oversimplification for everybody. So when you ask AI a question, for example, what is the capital of France? It won't have a list like Google would have, or you would have in a spreadsheet. If you ask Google, Google has a spreadsheet. Google's trying to be the source of truth, or it used to do that with search results and with the answers. You would go into a list and it would say France, and right next to it, it would be the capital, and it's Paris. Well, AI doesn't work like that. AI doesn't know anything. AI is a probabilistic, system that analyzes consensus of probability and gives you an answer, the most probable answer, word by word, creating the answer word by word, and trying to find consensus and trust and validation across the internet. So, in a few words, what it does is it asks itself, when these words, capital, what is, and France, are together, what is the most probable next word that is going to be together with these words? And that word is Paris. That's how you can ask the same question 100 times to AI and get 100 different answers. Ren Fishkin is talking about this a lot. He's the founder of Moz, which is a big SEO company. He sold it. He's doing SparkToro. He's been talking a lot about zero click, which we talked about a little bit today, which is how Google has shifted over the years. And he talks a lot about how AI doesn't know anything, and how AI, they did a test with thousands of people and they asked the same question, and the list keeps changing. So there's one side of it, which is AI doesn't know anything and is a probability kind of random thing that is finding consensus and validation. So we need to know that. But also, it has volatility, and we'll talk about volatility too. So, how do you change this? And how do you reduce as much as possible volatility while controlling the narrative? Well, the other thing we need to know is that when you ask AI, it won't ask the same question. It won't say, if you say, for example, how do I run a marathon in November in New York City? It won't just ask that internally like Google would do in the past. It asks multiple questions. This is called query fan out. And the fan out, what it does is it says, what's the weather in New York City in November? What shoes do I need to run a marathon? Um, what things I need to buy when I'm planning to train for a marathon, exercises to train for a marathon. Like it will ask a bunch of different questions related to it. It will try to find consensus. It will try to find the most trustworthy sources and then verify them with other things. And then from that consensus, it will bring and create one answer from multiple chunks of answers that it get from other places. So that's why, for example, when you see an answer, you'll see different chunks of mini answers to the answer that are making the answer. And you see the source right next to it, which tells you where that information came from. So, what you're trying to hope for is to become the little source and the little chunks of the information. And you are hoping that you are going to be mentioned and you're going to be cited with the link. Now, what people are doing to do this is creating a bunch of AI generated content because that's easy. And a lot of companies are doing it well enough that is working for now. But what we're seeing is that even though you can go and say, create, 100 articles about this, and you get them immediately, and you can post them tomorrow, and you can automate that with Claude and this and use agents and a bunch of different things. Some of those things will work, but what we have seen is that it works for a while. And this is a case study from Search Engine Land, which is a website that does a lot of research. I share the 210 times bigger for Google article from Search Engine Land. This is from Search Engine Land also. And what it is how AI generated content performed after 16 months. This is an experiment that they run. And what they saw, as you can see there, is the website traffic and everything was growing incredibly for a long time. They posted 2,000 articles generated with AI, and then it died completely. And this is the same thing that we've seen in the past when people try to fake SEO. AI generated articles are not a new thing. There were a lot of tools that were doing that before ChatGPT existed. They were expensive and you had to pay for them and all that stuff. Now it's free or $20 a month. So it's making it mainstream. So what's happening is most people are doing this. They're creating crap that's generated from AI. And I call that the sea of crap, right? Like what's going to happen is nothing is going to be differentiated when you continue to create content from other content that was created already from another content that was created from another content. What you need to do is capture your reality, your opinion, your expertise, so you can become a trustworthy source for something that that you only know. Google has said it in the last couple of weeks, and there's verification on this, that they will not showcase content that can be created with AI. If you can create whatever you're showcasing with an AI model, then it's not going to be trustworthy for the models. So what we're trying to do is to create human content, showcase human expertise. And for that, we created the human to answer framework. And let me share first of all here the AI content trap article with we run a full webinar on that, and that's an article right there. And I'm going to share the human to answer framework article from the webinar also. What this is all about, and I won't bore you with the whole thing, is capture reality first, and we'll talk about what does that mean. Capture everything you can from real stuff, then extract answers and questions from that, then automize it into multiple different sources like we talked before. A webinar turns into a blog, turns into social post, turns into a Reddit conversation, turns into a video clip. and then distribute that everywhere so you become the source that's trusted because you can be validated in multiple places where you're having actual human conversations with real humans and then earn trust through that, then verify, track, and get better. What's great about this is based on loop marketing. The whole point of it is this is a loop. This continues to run on an ongoing basis because every time you run one of these loops, you learn from it and it gets better and better and better. You run the next video, the next podcast, the next webinar, the next sales meeting, whatever it is. So, what we're doing to influence AI is not tricks, not prompts, not AI generated content, not agents that do all of this automatically. You're influencing AI with real expertise, with real answers, and with real customer interactions. So the human to answer framework helps you do that. And I just shared the link there. So why multi-channel, right? And when we talk multi-channel, we're talking about, YouTube, Reddit, LinkedIn. We're talking about using forums. We're talking about finding the places where the people are having the conversations. Crazy is that sometimes we find that the places are places that you would even think so. And I'll show you the examples when we look at the HubSpot AEO tool. But some crazy examples are Chamber of Commerce. For local businesses, we've seen that for some industries, Chamber of Commerce websites are being taken as the trusted source. And if you think about it, it kind of makes sense because if a business is talking about themselves, they can say whatever they want. But when they become part of the Chamber of Commerce, that means they are a local business. They can't fake that. They need an address and a phone number and whatever because the Chamber of Commerce is checking that. Humans are checking that. So that is trusted. And then, second, what's on the Chamber of Commerce website is also reviewed by humans. So they can't just put whatever they want. They can't just keyword stuff and put a bunch of entities in there. They need to verify it with the actual Chamber of Commerce. So we've seen that, for example, for local businesses in certain industries, Chamber of Commerce websites have become an important trusted source on AI. Now, how do you know that? You track it. And we're going to talk about HubSpot AEO and how to track it, track citations and understand where things are coming from. But if you're going to decide to do this, what we recommend as a multi-channel strategy is start with videos, whatever you can do with videos that is going to be more trusted. Like we gave the example, the 11-year-old webinar. Videos could be webinars, recordings of your sales meetings, recordings of your customer meetings, any kind of recording. Just run an internal webinar with your employees where you train them, and that could become the source of your content. And then you publish it, right? Reddit conversations. Why? Because people ask things on Reddit and people are answering those questions. LinkedIn, that's where professional people are having conversations. You can see here from January 2026, Reddit and YouTube are huge citation sources for AI, and that continues to grow. So this helps to get the validation and the consensus and the trust signals for AI. So a multi-channel strategy is important. Now, the second thing this helps with is AI volatility because AI is volatile and it changes depending on how the models change. And this is not like when Google used to change their models, which is like every 6 months they would do a big update and you'd be like, oh, now mobile friendly is important or now this is important. AI volatility could happen, from day to day. So I'm going to share right here a tool that HubSpot put together. It's called the AI HubSpot sensor. And the HubSpot sensor right here, and I want to make sure that I've been sharing. I think I've been sharing the links with someone because someone was having a conversation here. So let me just share the links here. Someone started a conversation with me, and it looks like it took over my chat. So Let me share the links to the art to the events that are happening and the recordings. This is the link to the 210 bigger than Google than ChatGPT. This is the AI generated content performance. This is, and I'm going to share the other articles right here so you guys have them all. So the tool, the AEO tool, let me share it again. Sensor allows you to actually track AI volatility over time. So what that means you'll be able to see if AI is generally volatile these days or today or tomorrow or last week. So if you see changes in your AI visibility, you can attribute that to either your performance, your tasks, what you're doing to actually grow this, or it may be that things are going up or down because the industry in general is growing or it's more volatile or things are changing more. So you can actually see it by some industries. There's great resource to start thinking about volatility and keep this also as something to keep in mind. And we'll talk about all of that when we talk about HubSpot AEO. Any questions, guys? Let me see if I missed any questions. Thank you. All right. So what do we do before we invest heavily in AEO? Before someone comes and says, let's do all these things, what do we need to do? Well, the first thing you need to do is to check your SEO foundation. Check if your website, your page speed, run a website grader from HubSpot, run a Google page speed report, understand what you can do. None of these things are going to become 100, but they need to be as good as possible. So run website grader, page speed, check your general SEO. You don't have to go fix the 10,000 issues your website have today. You have to have a good foundation, a good enough foundation to make it grow from there. And I'm going to share here the link to the schema article we put together. We run a whole event, a whole webinar on schema, and this is the article with the recording. Schema is the code behind your website that structures the data for AI and for Google. So the way schema works is if you have an event, then that could be a page. But if the page is just a page, Google and AI are going to take that as just content. If you're describing an event, you can set up the schema in the background to say this is an actual event, and this is the name of the event, and this is the speaker for the event, and this is the location, and this is the date, and these are the tickets, and this is the price. Whatever it is, the information, you're structuring the data so Google and AI can actually extract it easily and therefore showcase it easily too and faster. Same thing with your organization, your local business, your address, all that information important for local AEO. Of course, local AEO is Google now. Google AEO, Google local is going to be AEO too. And then if you have blog articles, if you have FAQs, you can set up question, answer, question, answer. If you have videos, you can set up the video schema with the name, the description, the transcript of the video. So AI has all of that information to make a decision if that video is a trustworthy source. So all of these important foundational SEO aspects are very, very important for AEO. So work on this first. A great way to do this is to run an SEO AEO audit, which will tell you all the problems you have, and I'll share the link in a second, and then go from there. Fix those things. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have to redo your website. It means you have to do enough to be able to work with your website. If you've been doing SEO for the longest time, you probably have been fixing and taking care of these things anyways. Entities are important, so connect the entities on your website, say the names, have a good footer that have entity linking. There's a lot of great ways to do this. If you use pillar pages and topic clusters, you're connecting entities already. So if you've been doing SEO in the last 5 years, you know what I'm talking about. And those are important things to continue to do. Schema, as we talked about, is very important. And then Brown Foundation, the brand needs to be strong. Your social presence, your video content, your reviews, the consistent messaging across the different platforms will give AI and Google the right signals, trust signals to trust the content around you and your brand. Um, then after this, I have a whole checklist of things that you can do. So fix your SEO foundation, implement schema, as we talked about, structure the content as much as possible, define and connect the entities, create real content. I have a slide for that in a second. Distribute across channels, start distributing, build citations from reports, and like we talked about the Chamber of Commerce, test the prompts. I'll show you how to test inside HubSpot AEO in a second. Identify the gaps of things that are missing. You'll be able to do that with HubSpot AEO. We'll use the recommendations in a second. Repurpose content you already have, track changes, keep content fresh, align with sales, because if you do things for marketing, sales needs to be using the same articles, the same videos. If they have questions every day, you should be creating content for salespeople because that's answering your ideal client's questions, which is exactly what AI wants you to do. And turn this into a loop and run this like the human to answer framework that we talked about before. So, what do you need to start capturing? Expertise from your team, your sales conversations, your customer questions, your team expertise. If you can do a video shoot with humans, amazing. Ask them if they're a salesperson, what are the questions that people ask? If they're your clients, ask them why they love this, why they bought this, what is the success that this created? How did they change their life, their business, whatever it was? Because that is exactly what your ideal clients are going to be asking AI and Google. So you need to create content around that stuff. Do reviews, client success stories, webinars, videos, interviews. All of that is amazing sources of content to start building. And again, a lot of people are saying, oh, we're so late. Everybody's starting with this. Everybody's getting caught up with this. We're finally at a place that we can say, this is how this is changing. This is the volatility. This is how we can control the narrative. Just do these activities on a regular basis and things will get better over time. Go through the checklist, get your foundations, and then start capturing reality and then create content from that. And you can definitely use the human to answer framework like I shared before. So record conversations, capture what your team is saying, turn expertise into answers. Any questions, guys? And I'm going to share the human to answer framework again in case anybody has any questions. And of course, I'm going to share right here our AEO audit that I mentioned a couple of times before. If you have any questions about that, let me know. So how is HubSpot helping us with all of this? They created an AEO tool, and this AEO tool is amazing. You can put the prompts. It allows you. It actually helps you set it up. It's super easy because it already knows who you are, your clients, your competitors, a lot of things. It has a lot of context already. You can set it up in literally 5 minutes, and you can start seeing what is the percentage of what is the percentage of times that your brand is mentioned when someone searches for these prompts. Now you cannot test your own brand searches because that is branded. We're tracking mentions of the brand. If you're like saying what is Nextiny Marketing or how does Nextiny Marketing know about this, that is not something that's going to bring the brand as a mention or a citation. That is more of controlling the narrative. So you need to try those things separately, manually. Go to ChatGPT, go to Gemini, go to Google Breeze, ask about your brand, ask those things. That's what we do. One of the things, many things we do on AEO audits is asking all models, what do they know about the brand? And we try to understand where that information is coming and what the gaps are. This is for when people are finding you if they find you as a mention or a citation. And you can track mentions, you can track sentiment score, which allows you to see if it's in a positive or a negative light. And you can see the competitor landscape that shows you how the competitors are also showing up and down and growing. Now you can manage the prompts and then see per prompt how each prompt is going up or down. Again, remember there's volatility, so things will go up and down for many reasons, but you can actually start seeing if what you do has an effect on your AI brand visibility. I'll show you some examples in a second. So you can see the prompt, and then you can click on the prompt and see if that is affecting or not. Then you can see the citations, which is very important. Understanding when are you showing up as a link? Because being mentioned as the brand is very important. But if you can have someone go to your website from AI is even better. So this is very, very critical. Now, this is also important because you can see which sources AI is using to create the narrative around those prompts. So you can see if it's YouTube videos, if it's Reddit, if it's like the Chamber of Commerce. This is how we found out that the Chamber of Commerce was showing up as the source, is through the citations in HubSpot AEO. What's great about HubSpot AEO is it gives you recommendations. It tells you, hey, create a blog article, go do a video on YouTube. Hey, talk about this in a Reddit conversation. It recommends what to do to affect it. But not only that, you can close the loop on this, put the link of that article or blog or whatever you created on that recommendation, and then it'll track the impact on that prompt from what you did. So it'll say, go create a blog article, then you go publish the blog article, put that link of the blog article in the tool, and then it'll track over time if that actually is showing up as a citation and if it's affecting the mentions. So very, very powerful tool. Some examples, we've been seeing it for clients. It grows over time and it grows very, very quickly. I'll share a case study from some early, I think this is the early articles, case studies. There you go. This HubSpot AEO case study shows early results. In weeks, we were able to increase brand visibility and sentiment and mentions and citations. And you can see it there in weeks, how it's going up. But then specifically, we were tracking one specific location from one specific article, and you can see the impact of one blog article on the brand visibility on some specific. You can create groups and see that group specifically. You can see we went from 0 to 8% to now 34%. But on Gemini and Perplexity, it's already 75%. And actually, that now it's more. This is old. So the other thing you can see is ChatGPT is coming out late. We've seen, this is one of those things that we're going to share in that webinar about the difference between the models, is that ChatGPT takes longer and it takes different sources as part of their citations. So this is, again, showing us how it's growing from one change, but also we've seen that this is affecting AEO is affecting organic traffic that's also growing at the same time. And we actually build a whole case study because we've been using this whole strategy and this whole framework, the human to answer framework. We've been using it ourselves internally for the last 7 to 8 months. And we have seen that not only brand visibility is growing, but organic visits are growing. Direct visits from webinars are growing. Now we're tracking them with tracking links. All kinds of lead generation and customer acquisition and clients, paying clients, affected and assisted by AEO by these efforts. So I wanted to share that case study with you. These are the two case studies I just share with you. So what do you do next? Follow that checklist that I told you before. Follow this checklist. Start capturing reality as much as possible from webinars, from videos, from anything you can do internally, and then go from there. Set up HubSpot AEO and start tracking brand visibility. So the key takeaways today: your buyers don't need to use ChatGPT for AI to influence their decisions. Your buyers don't need to use ChatGPT. Oh, that's a repeated right there. AI trusts real expertise, not generic AI generated content. Consistent visibility across multiple channels builds trust and citations. And the brands that capture expertise and structure it into answers will win. But if you take one thing from this, is the human aspect. It's all about humans helping humans. If you can capture humans in your organization, helping other humans capture your expertise, your opinion, your how you do things differently from others. That is exactly what Google and AI want to showcase. So keep that in mind. That's it for today, everybody. I'm going to share again. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching the recording. I know a lot of people are on vacation. The summer is here. So hopefully everybody's having fun. I'm going to share the next events right here so everybody can register. We have June 17th. We're doing HubSpot AEO for local businesses, how you can do AEO for local businesses. Then July 15th, we're doing how to turn webinars into an AI visibility engine with HubSpot AEO. And then on July 29th, we're doing HubSpot AEO, what we've learned comparing ChatGPT, Gemini, and Perplexity, which is the one that I was mentioning before. Again, we are here to help. So whatever you need, I'm going to share my information again here for everybody. And then also, if you need the SEO, AEO audit information and our downloadable from the guide is here. Any questions, guys? And I know a lot of you are recording. So any questions, anybody?
Just wanted to say it was absolutely brilliant. I learned so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Laura. Thank you for connecting today.
It was absolutely brilliant. Thank you. We'll tune
This
into
is
the
great.
next ones too. And
Yeah.
will you send also the recording? Will it be available? I would like to listen to it again.
Yes, of course. We're sending the recordings later, and we're sending the recordings and all the links that I shared today in here,
Thank you so
and
much.
they're also going to be on the recording. So thank you for connecting again.
Absolutely. Much appreciated. Thank you.
Awesome. And let me know if you have any questions, guys. I'm here to help.